Hey everyone, Mr. G here. So we are going to skip forward quite a bit to Christianity spreading in the classical Roman period. This is quite a skip. We're kind of going from classic Rome to we're kind of skipping forward probably about 300 years to when Christianity started to pop up. But it is important to note this because one of the things that you're going to note one of the things that you need to know about European colonization is its motivations. So, think of it this way. Obviously, our world is a lot smaller than it is today. I mean, if you really wanted to go to Europe, it's that your options it's pretty easy. Even during the coronavirus, you can probably get on. You can probably find a way to get to Europe. It's a lot harder right now, um, but during like a normal period, you can take a boat, you can take a plane. It's pretty easy to get to Europe in this day and age. But back in the European colonization days, crossing the ocean was very dangerous. I mean, people cross the ocean, ships get caught in storms, you're lost forever. Um, and people got lost all the time. So crossing the ocean was very dangerous. So one of the things we have to ask ourselves is why did the Europeans cross the ocean? Why did they risk everything to cross the ocean for a piece of land that they had no clue existed? I mean, think of it this way. Let's just say, for example, if the Americas didn't exist, like if the Americas just did exist as a continent, and so when Christopher Columbus set sail to go west to hit India, if he tried to cross the vastness of the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans, including the ocean that would exist where the American continent didn't exist, he would die. I mean, he almost ran out of food and water just trying to get to the Americas. If he tried to cross the vastness of both oceans, he would run out of supplies and the ship would just drift. Um, so so when he hit the continent, it was entirely a mistake. I mean, let me put it this way: when he landed in Hispaniola and the Caribbean islands, he thought he was in Indonesia. And I know you might be laughing about that, but I mean, think of it this way: he had no clue where he was. I mean, he didn't have the luxury of maps and his history books to tell him where he was, and he thought Cuba was Japan. I mean, again, the world was a lot smaller place. He had no clue what Japan looked like. Um, but we have to ask ourselves did the empires why did the Spanish cross all that entire body of water to set up an empire? And it's called the three G's is why they went across the ocean to expand to the Americas. The three G's are God, glory, and gold, and one of those is God. So one of the primary motivations for why Europeans colonized was to spread Christianity everywhere they could, and so in order to understand why European colonized, we need to understand why Christianity spread in the first place, and how did it set up the tools for Europeans to use Christianity as a means to colonize. So we have to understand how early Christianity spread in terms in this instance, and one of the things you have to understand about Christianity compared to the old beliefs of like Rome, so we're talking like the ancient gods and the Greek gods, the Roman gods, like all the ancient like polytheistic gods, polytheistic being the worship of multiple gods, is that Christianity has missionaries. Christians want to spread their religion to anyone who will listen. So that exists even today. You hear about Christian missionaries all the time in Africa or in Asia. But one of the primary motivations behind Christianity is to spread their religion. Excuse me. This is the part of the day where my phone blows up like all the time. Um, so one of the primary motivators, Christianity is Christians want to spread religion, while the pagan beliefs they kind of just existed. They kind of did the whole they were very tolerant. They're kind of like the Romans were very like, I don't really care what religion you want to worship, kind of deal. But Christians wanted to spread their religion, and that led to a rub with Rome. But it also is the primary motivator why Christianity spread all over the place. So that's kind of why Christianity spread. So again, see, think, wonder. This is very self-explanatory. Um, so like, just make sure that you're answering answer these questions as well. Like, according to this map, during which time period did Christianity spread the most? That's a multiple choice answer. These are all questions that sorry. These are all questions that have to do with this map up here. Okay. So guys, it's just identifying features on a map. So just use your basic knowledge here. Like, for example, identify 2 centers of Christian diffusion. So what that means is identify 2 regions where Christianity kind of spread from. So think of it this way: the dark colors is the Christian areas at 300 AD. So these are like the earliest centers of Christianity, or these really dark splotches everywhere. The Christian areas with the lightish bluish greenish color are 300 to 600. So these are later. And then the yellow areas are much later, like 600 to 800. So almost a full 300 years after the original spots. So look at the map, look at where the cities are, and basically you're looking for 2 centers of Christianity. And I'll tell you right now, according to Christian belief, Jesus was crucified in Jerusalem. So most of the Christian centers will probably be in this region over here, Asia Minor and Egypt. So like, just give me 2 city names of 2 cities where Christianity might have spread from. Okay? Make a prediction. Reflect on the spread of other religions like Buddhism. How might Christianity spread throughout the Roman Empire? So think of it this way. What's the one thing that classical Rome was really good at building that would make Christianity easy to spread? I'll give you hints. I'll give you hints. When you go to school, you get to school either walking alongside or riding on this surface. It starts with an R. All right. So, how did Christianity spread in the Roman Empire? So, again, it's I don't really. So with these sections, guys, this talks more about like Christianity's doctrine. So I'm not overly concerned about making sure you get these answers correct, because I want to talk more about the reasons why Christianity spread and the motivations that Christianity would give to Europeans later for colonization. So I'm not really overly concerned about this section. I just just read this and answer these questions. I would say that I would say probably skip this section. You don't really need to do this one here. This one, I would do this one just for the vocab. So just I would just read this one. Like the turn and talk. Obviously, you can't do turn and talk because we're all in social distancing. That's like a partner thing. So I would just say more like read it and annotate. Read and annotate. Don't worry about the turn and talk. Traveling to the Mediterranean world. Answer these questions. Because it does talk about how Christianity spread, so please make sure you answer these questions about St. Paul. Answer these questions as well, and read these statements, because this talks more about the backlash of it talks about religious tension. Like whenever there's a new religion, there's a lot of religious tension. It just happens. I mean, it happens even today. Whenever a cult starts spreading, it does cause a lot of tension between the local population and the cult. It happened a couple of years ago with the Waco thing. That was probably the most famous instance of that, but it happens all the time. Is when a new religion pops up, it causes a lot of anger with the local community. So please make sure that you answer these questions as well and read these statements. And here's where I really want you to focus in on. You don't need to use the belief systems chart. That's for something else. I just want you to answer this question. I want you to answer it as accurately as you possibly can using what you learned above. Describe how Christianity spread during the classical era. So you're going to have to go back through your readings to answer this. You need at least 3 to 4 sentences. I'm actually going to write this here so you guys know to do that. So, but guys, this is super important because how Christianity spread in its early years is how Christianity spread when they did colonization. It's one of the primary motivators for early European colonization. So please make sure that you're actually getting these readings done and answer this question, because this question I will take for a grade. This is about half your grade right here. Is this one question? So if you guys want a good grade, you need to make sure that you're doing this question as accurately as you possibly can. Okay? All right, I'm going to leave you guys to it. I'm not going to rag much longer on this. You guys have today, Thursday, and Friday to get this particular unit done. On Monday, we are going to go over this one and the classical Rome one. So please make sure that you're available for that, because I want to make sure you guys are getting this correct. So please make sure that you guys are getting these done so we can have a productive Monday meeting and get it. And let me put it this way. The meeting's an hour officially, but the faster we can get it done and the more efficient we can get it done, the earlier the meeting will end. Because I don't want to take up too much of your time. So if it takes us the full hour to answer these questions because some people are just not getting it or they show up late, then it's going to take the full hour. But if everybody gets up, they show up, we get it done in 20 minutes, then we get it done in 20 minutes. You guys can head out after that. So please make sure you're getting it done. Okay. All right. I'll leave you guys to it, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll see you on Monday.